This is the Miss Universe 2023 preliminary show recap. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I really hope that you enjoy it and choose to subscribe, as well as support the channel by hitting that super thanks button or joining memberships for access to exclusive content. I greatly appreciate all the support. This episode will be a little bit different. I am going to break up my favorites into three groups. My first group are the ladies that I can see potentially being in a semifinal during the finals night. The next group of ladies are going to be the ones that ideally, or ones that I believe can make it to that top 5 level. And then the last group of ladies for swim and gown I'm going to share about because I feel like they can be a great surprise for the competition. So now let's jump into it. First of all, staging I think is fantastic. Really cool how it crosses, and I love where the audience is positioned. So you have all sorts of really unique angles of the contestants, and I feel like that really makes those front row seats worth it at a pageant, because it's not like only a small percentage of seats are going to get a great view of the contestants. So I love the idea of the multi-angle type staging. I think it's very cool. The only difficult thing about this, when you have a very unique stage shape like an X, like we saw something more skewed in 2018, is camera angles are really tricky. So I noticed overall with the contestants, quite a few of the ladies were having trouble finding the cameras, and I have to tell you, it's not easy to do. Even when the staging is a little bit more cut and dry, straightforward, it's still tough because all it is a little red light way out in the distance. That's the only thing telling these ladies, hey, this is the camera that has eyes on you. Aside from that, if you don't catch that little light, contestants don't know what camera is capturing them. And so that's why things look a little different for each contestant. Quick shout out to Arbany for being a co-host of this year's show. She looked absolutely stunning. Loved this look. I really love that when a title holder is outgoing, we get to see really unique looks that she probably would never use for competition. First group I'm talking about are the ladies that I envision moving on into at least a semifinal. Angola was great. I feel like it's pretty difficult to come out as one of the first contestants at a pageant. There's so much pressure, and sometimes you feel like the judges aren't warmed up or the audience isn't really excited. It can be a tough position, but she really handled this well. I felt that when she immediately came out, she was nailing eye contact with the camera, but then when she got to the end of the runway, it almost seemed like her energy was draining. And ladies, keep things going the entire time till you can't see the judges anymore. Beautiful. Love the natural hair, love the gown. Yes, this is a typical pageant styling, but she wore this gown so well, so don't take that away from her, and the performance was there. Panama, yes. First of all, she has a great smoldering eye look right when she walks on stage. She has that down. I just wanted overall for her to be a little bit happier. So just like breathe. Just breathe for finals a little bit more, and I feel like she's in a good place. I feel like this was just a safe performance, and the color, although it was beautiful on her of this gown, I just feel like it didn't do anything to really make her stand out in a crowd. So that's really how I feel overall about her, and I think I preferred her swimsuit performance to gown. Canada to me gave just a strong performance. If things went well in her interview, I feel that she should and deserves to move on to the final competition. This was excellent. Canada's gown reminds me of, I believe, Slovak Republic 2020, Czech Republic, but this was still a great choice for her. The hair up made a lot of sense, and what really matters is the performance, and I was feeling it. She looked so confident on stage. Lebanon is beautiful in images and on video. Yes, we know that, but the way her face translated on stage was outstanding. Now, the turn I think needed to be a little bit cleaner, but sometimes that face card can get you a long way. So I'm hoping to see her in a semifinal at least. I think the gown itself isn't unique. We've seen lots of styles like this at pageants, but who cares when you're as gorgeous as Miss Lebanon? Honestly, I do think her swimsuit performance was stronger, but if she had a great interview, I think this gown performance would be enough to move her forward. Bolivia's looking good, and she had a great spin turn. Bolivia, I like the gown. It's unique. It's kind of grand when I think about it. It's very loud, but I don't like the sock bun styling for the hair. I understand it because of the neckline, but I actually just wish that she would have kept her beautiful straight hair from swim and pulled it off the shoulders. Mexico, I think, is beautiful, gorgeous, looks amazing on stage. There was something about her energy though, and I do feel like she was holding back a little bit. So that definitely concerns me. I don't know if it was just nerves translating on stage, but other than that, I still like her and I'm still rooting for her for semifinals. I loved this gown, loved the neckline, loved that it was a deeper red. This was not the red that we saw on Andrea Mesa, and I think she just looked beautiful. I have to say, like, her makeup especially was amazing on stage. Well done to whoever did that. Guatemala, what an amazing surprise. She is a mom of 2, and like Colombia, she is bringing it. Okay, the moms are showing up this year at Miss Universe in so many ways. They're making history and they're bringing strong performances, and I loved this performance. She was fantastic. Guatemala, again, fun, beautiful, unique gown. This gown reminded me of some color combos we were seeing at Miss Grand International this year. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, just unique, memorable. There were videos of El Salvador during rehearsals and she was really looking great, and she brought that same energy to prelims. But I do think that the first posing section could have been a little bit cleaner. It does worry me a little bit, but she had the crowd going and she looked like she was having a really great time, so that usually wins some points. Her gown reminded me kind of like a Zulika inspired gown in gold, but more so, it reminded me of Miss New York USA's gown that she won in this year. She also wore it the previous year. And then we saw Florida USA wear kind of like a remake of New York's gown when she went to Miss USA. Very, very interesting, that small draped beading. I would love to have seen a different gown on her. I do think her swimsuit performance was stronger, but she still did great for gown and she really had the crowd going. Obviously, hometown girl, makes a lot of sense. So she did excellent. I want to see her advance. I think she's so beautiful and she's been doing a great job. Pakistan, so beautiful. She is historic. There's a lot of history at this year's pageant. She looked so beautiful in pink, and I talked about this earlier in other episodes, but she's very, very facially beautiful, and honestly, she was so confident on stage. I loved it. I'd love to see her move on. Please tell me that you loved Pakistan as much as I did. What a wonderful surprise for gown as well. She looked gorgeous. She was in a very, very modest style. She had the headscarf on. It was fully embellished. The way that she worked the fabric though was perfect, not overdone. And once again, she was playing that face card. I love her. I really want to see her advance. Namibia was a surprise for me, especially with that hair up to really showcase her facial beauty. It worked, and her walk and her performance was strong. I loved her. I need to see her advance. Namibia looked beautiful, and this gown actually really suited her. It's very, very unique, but do I still want a different gown for finals? Yes, I do. I think that she could just wear something else, like a different color and a different silhouette that'll complement her even more. But for me, what was important is that she really nailed that eye contact at the end of the runway. She really did. Ecuador is somebody that I haven't really noticed as much leading up to the competition. She's beautiful, but she's in a sea of beauty. She also reminds me of another contestant. I cannot put my finger on it right now, but she did a great job for swim. I would not be surprised at all to see her in finals, although I feel like she's really been flying under the radar. Ecuador had a great gown. Okay, I know people get tired of the metallics. I don't get tired of them as long as they look incredible on stage, and they usually do. So I'm a big fan of this performance and also the beautiful, unique pointed neckline. She looked absolutely stunning. I really hope she doesn't get lost in the mix. Philippines, first of all, I love that she did a wet hair look, because when do we see that at Miss Universe? The slicked back, chic, the red, it looked amazing on her. I liked that she also wore a one piece. It was just giving me like 90s swimsuit model vibes. She was really, really fun to watch. I was very excited for her. Now, I think that she needs to relax the arms, reel them in a little bit more. That could just be the excitement of being on that stage. But overall, I feel like she did a great job. And there was such a moment when she hit this first pose. I was like, oh, just snap a photo right there, okay? That was everything for me. That's all I needed to see from this performance. We haven't seen Philippines in green in quite some time. What was it, 2016, 2017? This gown though, love. So unique. I love the cutouts. I also really like, if you noticed, fans of Philippines should notice, she did her little signature arm pose behind the back. She snuck it in really quickly and then she smiled afterwards and I was like, ah, she knows what she's doing. So I was very, very pleased with this. I don't know if I liked this or swim more, but she should be advancing. Philippines has got to be back in that top 20. Thailand, I was waiting for this moment. Okay, Thailand has a great walk, but I do feel like she was holding back her energy. I think that she needs a more full out smile, like live in that moment, allow yourself to feel that excitement because she has the skill level, she has the walk, the turns, the poses. She can do so much on stage, but I want to see that she's really having fun. Thailand, the design of her gown reminded me a little bit of her gown that she won her national title in. Definitely the bodice area was very reminiscent, but the skirt was beautiful. But once again, I do feel like for some reason she seems to be holding back. I hope that it's not nerves, but she has everything she needs. I'm just like, own it. Own it. You really got to just work it for Miss Universe, but especially for evening gowns. So I want to see her get a little bolder with her facials, but she has still had a great performance. This next group of ladies are the ones that I can see in a top 5. Australia, I loved. Frankly, she performed even better than I thought that she would. I thought she was going to be great, but I didn't realize she was going to be this great. And she also nailed that first pose. She gave us a little hair flip and lots of energy. I fully expect to see her in finals. If she's not, something went very wrong in interview. I'm a little conflicted. I love the performance. And I know that's what should matter, but it's Miss Universe. It's tough. A great gown doesn't hurt, right? Her gown is stunning, but it's giving me a little bit bridal / prom. Bridal because of the shape and how it is stoned, and then prom because of the exposed corset. So I really just hope that she has something else for finals. That's what I'm wishing for. But regardless, she had a great performance, and that's what should matter. South Africa, my note also, she reminded me, I just need one of these swimsuits, but she just happened to really, really rock this particular suit. She had a nice spin turn here. Honestly, very, very solid performance, a very deserving performance. I just wanted her to smile a little bit more when she got to the end of the runway. This is what I love about South Africa. The way that they are so inventive with gowns every year, I literally never know what to expect. I feel like the only consistency might be that there are usually multiple colors in their gowns. And that's tough to do and to make a gown look this incredible. To me, it almost looks like layers of a rock formation or a geode in a way. Oh, but just so gorgeous, so gorgeous. She could keep this gown for finals and win in a gown like this, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw her in something else for finals, but I'm kind of just hoping it'll be this one. Also, somebody pushed her hair kind of back for this. I preferred the hair for swim, but this was a strong performance. We should be seeing South Africa back in that top 20. Venezuela did very well, but I feel like it was still tough to walk after USA. USA brought so much great energy to the stage. Venezuela was just up there fighting, okay? And she did an excellent job representing her country. She had a great performance, but there was something about going right after USA that I feel like USA kind of primed the judges in one way, and I'm curious how they're gonna feel about Venezuela's performance because that's pretty tough. And think about it last year. Our top 2, they're side by side in a lineup. That is not easy to do. Venezuela's gown. Oh my gosh. Talk about fighting. I talked about this for a couple years when the directorship changed. I felt like the gowns weren't as unique as they were in the past. Well, that came back this year. And if this is her preliminary gown, what is her finals gown? She was like a living snow princess, and I loved it. And the performance was there too. Confident. Venezuela, she's just fighting for that top 5. India came out strong, and I loved her first set of posing, but I think that the excitement of the audience got to her a little bit because after she did her spin turn and as she finished that walk and starts walking down the runway to exit. I do feel like she lost a little bit of control with the walk. She really fell into some deep shoulder movements on stage. So my advice to her, because I love her, she's stunning, I want her to place, would just be to make sure that you maintain that composure. You need that. Although swim is going to be fun and exciting, there's still a line, especially I think for Universe. India, I do wish that she would have wore a brighter color. I hope that she has something else for finals, frankly, which they usually do. Now, let me know what you thought, but I am not a fan of the rapid arm movement on stage for gown. Personally, I just feel like gown is one of those things where we take it slow, like slow movements, nothing abrupt on stage, very, very subtle. And in that way, it's different from swimsuit. I like that there's a difference between the performances, personally. Aside from that, if we just subtract that, then she did, to me, an outstanding job. Also, somebody said that her eyes were kind of like Pia's sometimes. And if you really look at her, I'm like, I can see that sometimes. Her eyes do kind of look like Pia's from time to time. Nicaragua, the audience went wild. Oh my gosh, it was like she was feeding off of that energy. She did as I expected her to do. Great performance, super clean. I'm obsessed. For a while now, I've seen her in a top 5, and I feel like this performance can back that up. Nicaragua, she was a moment. Okay. I loved her. I just love her energy. She needs to be in the top 5. She's in my top 5. Also, that's a lot for a slit, so I'm very curious. Will she be changing this look up for finals? I feel like the last time I saw a slit kind of like that, like pretty wide open, would have been 2020, South Africa. I feel like Natasha's gown had a pretty daring slit. I am in shock with USA in the best way possible. When I saw her for swim, I thought a back-to-back is possible. That is tough to do. That is tough to do. So my prayers are with you, Noelia, but the face, the walk, the energy, the hair, I was feeling it from USA. And I try not to be biased. Sometimes I feel like I'm even a little harsher on our Miss USAs because I don't want people to say I'm biased, although I think that there's always going to be a natural bias there anyways. But also because USA has placed so many times and now has the record for titles. Regardless of the sash factor, I still always want our title holders to earn their spot in that semifinal. I want people to recognize that they earned that spot. And I don't want people to think that we got the spot because of a sash factor. So keep working for it, ladies. USA, this is so funny. Another one, I talked about this in my styling episode. I said it's been a while since USA wore red. Noelia looks great in primary colors. Look at her. Look at her in red. And I dressed her hypothetically in red. This gown appears to be from the same designer as her national gown. And it's he's a Venezuelan designer, Dije Galvez. I don't know. Help me with the pronunciation, someone. But this gown was stunning. The flow of the chiffon was perfect. Honestly, she doesn't even need to change this gown for finals, although she could if she has another option. But wow, I'm telling you, the back-to-back is real. It's real. And I don't want to get too excited. So let's move on. Colombia, I just love. I love her. I feel like she has such a strong walk and presence about her. And she's always just like bronze and her hair is waving. She's just hair goals and gorgeous. And I love her little wink at the end of the runway. It was just so well timed. Colombia, let's talk about this. This is interesting. Obviously, she is stunning, and a lot of people complain that Colombia usually wears a silver or a gold metallic gown. The funny thing to note, though, is that last year the placement was top 10. Their title holder wore pink to prelims, which I loved, and then green to finals. Now, previously, when they have been placing in the top 5, they've usually been wearing silver or gold. So although people call it the rinse and repeat, for some reason it works so well for Colombia. So I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So it kind of makes sense that that's what they went back to. Anyway, still one of my favorite performances. Absolutely love her. Huge fan. She better be advancing. One of my personal favorites performed as I thought she would. Puerto Rico, I feel like, is just such a solid competitor, and I need to see her advance. And I feel pretty confident she'll be back in that top 5. She's incredible. She's literally flawless, like not even a hair out of place. Wow, okay, this sheer gown. I like that she had the sleeves. It's giving me more Venezuela 2018, that kind of look, and we don't really see sleeves that often when you think about it. But this was beautiful, and it was an ultra sheer gown. And her performance did not disappoint. This is exactly what I expected from her. She has to move on. Other thing I want to mention, they talked about vote for change, and many of you were asking about that. I didn't even look into those videos. I apologize. I didn't have time to check out the entrance. But just to let you know, at the end of the pageant, they're going to announce 3 gold winners, and each of those winners will receive $12,000. Wow, that is quite a prize. My last group of ladies are the ones that surprised me, and I feel like they might surprise us on finals as well. I had no idea Brazil was only 19. She carries herself with so much grace and poise, and she honestly gave a very fun performance, and I enjoyed it. France, I'm worried about. She was a huge and heavy favorite, and I do feel like she was wobbling in those heels, and the walk overall could be stronger and really just more practice with all the posing and making sure that just everything is so clean and precise. But she's so beautiful, and I still love her, so I'm very conflicted. We have to talk about France. I feel like this is a love or hate gown, but for me, I was just confused about the gown. This is nothing like we usually see from France. And unfortunately for me, because of the pink and the purple and the rhinestones and the earrings, there was so much going on, I basically missed her performance. That happens when there's a lot going on with the gown for me personally, and I feel like I cannot be the only one. I'm just so set on the gown and trying to figure out what is going on with it. So I'm very, very surprised with this, and I am worried for France in a placement, although I love her. Honduras, I'm on the edge about because I thought that she had really great eye contact, but what happened to her camera angle? It was like she was missing all of her marks on stage. I feel like she didn't need to hold her cape so high, so bring that down if you're gonna wear that for finals. And other than that, I love the dress on her and the performance. She really took her time, lived in the moment. Why not, girl? It is your moment. You worked for this. Malta, I'm rooting for her just because you never really hear about Malta in a semifinal at Miss Universe, and I love the idea of our dark horses, and I talked about her in some other episodes. I think she's so beautiful, and I'm really just pulling for her. Malta tripped just a tad, but she's so pretty, and I'm just rooting for her. I'm rooting for our underdogs and our dark horses always. I think Nepal did so well. She had a strong walk coming on, but she was one of the fewer contestants who had some really great facial transitions, and that seems to carry a lot of weight at Miss Universe. So I really love that about her. I think she did a great job, and she needs to keep up this same energy. Dominican Republic has a great walk, but I am worried about her because she was missing a lot of the camera angles and views, and you really don't see that advancing at Miss Universe, so it does concern me because they are looking for a contestant who's really self-aware about what's happening on stage and somebody who can take direction for a show because they want to create the best show and have the best camera angles of all the contestants for finals specifically, because that's your telecast. This gown was interesting, very, very beautiful on stage. Kind of reminded me of how Paraguay also went with the beautiful pastel flowing. Kind of reminded me of when Paraguay in 2021 wore the mint green. And you know what's funny now that I think about it? I talked about pastels in another episode and how those beautiful hues don't usually do well at Miss Universe. But what's interesting is it seems that mint green works. Paraguay, Ecuador, top 5. The gown for me, though, was interesting to see her in because I feel like she looks so young for her age. Good for her, right? Okay. She's 28. I couldn't even believe that. And the gown aged her down, in my opinion. I was very surprised by the gown choice. So I'd actually like to see something different on her for finals. St. Lucia was a good surprise for me. I thought that she had a great swimsuit walk. Honestly, it was definitely more a 90s style of walk and posing, but I still really liked her. St. Lucia is a surprise for me, even for gown. Honestly, I think she did pretty good. And last year we saw some surprises in semifinals, and I feel like she could surprise everybody this year. Cameroon, I have to commend her on her facials and her facial changes. She had an amazing spin turn here in the beginning, and she just did so well. What an amazing surprise. I'm so happy for her. Singapore, I haven't noticed her as much, but I gotta give it to her. I think she did a great job in swim. Singapore, I think she had a great gown, but I feel like the performance was a little bit safe. So for that, she's on the edge. Indonesia had a good spin turn at the beginning. She almost went too fast, but she caught herself and she managed to balance and not wobble. So I was quite impressed with that. She saved it. And she also had some great facial changes. She really had the eye of the tiger at the end of the runway, and I am a fan of that. Argentina had really great energy at the opening, but there was something that she did with her lips at the end of the runway that I feel she should adjust for finals. Argentina looked beautiful in this gown, and there was this moment, it was like a half second, where she had a very, very real and genuine smile, and that is what I love to see. She did an excellent job. She looks beautiful. I have to mention Cambodia because for years they've really been working for a placement, and I can see that. And I want to mention, I think this is the best preliminary gown that I've seen for their title holders. Their queen is not wearing a giant platform, and the hem of the dress is not too short, and I've been waiting for that. But on top of it, it's a really ornate gown. Beautiful. Chile, I must say, looks really great in red, and I do wish that she would have held at least one of her poses a little bit more during that first posing area section on stage. But overall, I really enjoyed the swimsuit performance. Laos did pretty good, and they placed last year. And that can say something about how hungry a country is, and also it can say something about their interview prep. So I really hope that she had a great interview to match this performance. Laos, I thought this gown was fun, and it's pretty severe in the shoulders, I would say, for Universe. It's definitely a look, but I like her performance. So I hope that she places. Slovakia is just gorgeous. I wanted her to nail her first poses a little bit more, but I'm still rooting for her. Slovakia, what did I say in my other episode? What did I say? I said that these European countries, they tend to go for like a princess style of gown, and this definitely gives me that princess vibe. Granted, it's different from many others because we have the fuller skirt, but at least it's sheer, so she's really bringing the sexy element into it. But the gown was beautiful. I'm a fan. She is stunning, and I'd love to see her place. I think she'd be a fun surprise. Spain, I've been a fan. I'm a little bit concerned. I think she was doing great, but there were a couple moments in the first posing sequence where she kept opening her mouth, smiling like that, and it did concern me. I think that when we do the facial transitions, we got to be really smooth with it. Spain, I'm a little bit torn. The gown, although it fit her, I just felt like it reminded me actually of a lot of the Portia and Scarlett dresses from last year, interestingly enough. But I just love her hair. I think probably because we want what we don't have, and I just don't have a lot of hair. So when I see a contestant that has a lot of hair, I'm just like, let it free, let it fly, please. So I think I just wanted more hair from her. That's one thing. And a different gown for finals. I need to mention Denmark because I did the episode about styling Miss Universe contestants, like if I had the opportunity, and she wore her hair how I said she should wear it in the episode, and I thought that was so funny. Costa Rica, her face is so stunning. Personally, I wish that she would have toned down the blonde hair color. I just want more of a contrast between the skin and the hair. That's a preference. I love that look. Also, I do think that she had a little bit too much sway in the shoulders, a little bit bouncy. Maybe she got a little excited on stage. So she's on my edge just because I'm like, oh my gosh, her face is just so stunning. She's gorgeous. And who knows how her interview went. Myanmar, I liked this gown. It's unique. I just felt like she needed some facial expression changes. She needed it. Portugal, so I really liked this look initially when she walked out, and I love the sleeves. I can't even understand how they're constructed, how those were made. Amazing. Now, the one thing I would say though is towards the end, I feel like after the center posing, that the performance started to feel like a swimsuit performance. So that's really important, ladies. You're really gonna maintain that elegance throughout. Even if the crowd goes wild, you gotta stay composed. Vietnam, I really like the performance, but I hope that she has a different gown. I didn't like the exposed shorts look of this gown. I think that it needed more layers, but I have to commend her on her turn in her gown. Never easy to do, and the performance was there. But I just don't feel like the white really did anything for her. It wasn't really helping her to stand out. The gown design itself, I feel like we've just seen more unique styles on former Miss Vietnams, so I'm a little torn. Peru was so pretty, and she had a very clean routine. I love clean routines. I love when contestants aren't falling out of their turns, they don't hesitate in a pose. She had that. And I was worried a little bit because I was like, I feel like she could smile just a little bit more for swimsuit, and then she brought that at the end, so I was pleased. Now at the end of prelims, they announced a top 10, which are silver award winners for the Voice for Change contest. So 3 of these ladies will go home at the end with $12,000, I believe. I'm pretty sure these are a 10. I don't think there's a different 3. I'm not sure. Actually, I don't know. We had Angola, Brazil, Chile, Lebanon, Philippines, Puerto Rico, Singapore, South Africa, Ukraine, and Zimbabwe. Congratulations, ladies, on your Voice for Change awards. Very proud of you. I cannot wait for finals. Please come back for my finale recap and let me know if there's anything else that you want to see on the channel in the meantime or post finale. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you so much. I'm gonna get to bed right now because I need to edit this tomorrow and get things going for all of you. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you'll come back and enjoy more episodes. Oh, and don't forget to check out the other recent ones that I've created for coverage of Miss Universe 2023. Thank you so much.